Subscribe to our channel. Click on bell icon. You never miss any update. Okay, in the previous videos we have discussed how to work with Chrome, Firefox and Internet Explorer, right? So we know up till a point where we can launch a browser and in that browser launching a specific website. Now, the very interesting part comes into picture whenever you are trying to handling the elements. Means if I want to automate, as per our knowledge up till now, we can open a website. It can be any website. We can open it on a specific browser. If you want to open this facebook.com in Google, you can do it. If you want to open this facebook.com in Google Chrome, we can do it. If you want to open this facebook.com in Mozilla Firefox also, you can do it, right? But after opening facebook.com, I have few more activities to do. I want to enter my email in this email box. That's what my task is. Can you see this email box here?
Okay.
So I want to enter my email address here. Means I need to give the instructions to the tool so that tool go and perform the activity on this. Okay. So what are the activities first I need to do? I need to open the browser. The very first one, opening the browser. Open browser. This you know how to open the browser, right?
Right.
Open browser, you can do it. Next, after opening the browser, launching a website. 2. So even you know how to launch a website too. Next, I need to interact with the application. I need to perform the user operations on the applications. This is the new thing what we need to learn now, right? Yes, after opening a website, specific website called facebook.com, I need to enter my email address in this field. So to identify this element, this is an element, okay? This box is element, this box is element, this box is element, this is element, this sign up is an element, this create a page link is an element, this radio button is an element. So each and every part of your application, it will be considered as an element. Okay, individual elements make the application. Clear? Yes. Now I want to enter my email address over there. Means I need to give the information to the tool, go and identify certain element. Means I need to give some information of that element so that your tool identifies that, right? See here, if you want to identify any element in the world, as a human, I'm sitting in front of computer. So how would I know that it's a computer? If it has having a CPU, if it has a monitor, if it has a keyboard, mouse, if it has all these properties, then it is considered as a computer, correct? Assume that you are waiting for your friend and two people are walking towards you. One is your friend and another one is X person. So how you are going to identify your friend? Using its properties, his or her properties, right? It may be height, color, gender, right? The face structure, nationality, XYZ. Using these properties, you are going to identify who is your friend and who is the X person. So what does it mean? We are going to identify any element in the world using its properties or attributes. Same like the tool also identify this element using some properties. Means I need to give the information of that element, means information of that element to the tool. I can say to the tool, go and identify this element using a property called ID. Okay, there are some properties. Okay, I will give the list of properties, but see here, as a computer has a different set of properties, human has a different set of properties. Same like that, this elements also has some certain properties. ID is a property. Okay, this element has some ID called 123, assume it. So now if I say to my tool that go and identify an element which has an ID called 123, so it will search in the whole page and it will try to identify this element and it will try to perform the activity. So what's happening here? We are trying to give the property. Getting the point? We are trying to give the properties information so that element identifies it. So but how would I know that? What is the properties of this element? What are the attributes of it? It has an ID, but where is that ID? It is in the source code. How to get that? This is the tricky part here. Clear? Yes. So before going to that, we have 8 identifiers in Selenium. 8 identifiers. Using that 8 identifiers or 8 locators, what we call, we need to identify the elements. Okay, what are the 8 elements? Sorry, what are those 8 identifiers? We'll have a look on that first. Is that clear till now? Okay, so these are the identifiers which are you seeing on the screen. Identifiers or locators. ID is a identifier or locator, means using a ID we can identify elements. Link text, partial link text, tag name, class name, CSS, XPath. These are the 8 types of locators or selectors what we have. Using these 8 types of locators, we'll be identifying the elements. Okay, so let's see how to use this and how to identify the elements. Right, so these are the attributes or these are some properties of the element. Now, how to get the properties of an element? This is a very important task. Okay, I'm going to show you one by one of how to use ID, name, link text, partial link text, tag name, class name, CSS, and XPath. We'll show you all these 8 locators one by one. But before to that, how to know the properties or attributes of this element? Right? Here we have an email or phone number box. I need to know what is the ID of it so that I can feed to the tool and tool goes and identifies it. Okay. So to know properties of an element, earlier we used to use a tool called Firebug and Firepath. So as if now this Firebug and Firepath extensions for Mozilla Firefox is no more supportive, but still we have a lot of ways to go ahead and check it. So if you want to try to get the properties or attributes of this element, then you need to just right click on that element, go to inspect element. This is in Firefox. Okay, in Chrome also you can right click and click on inspect. Just right click and click on inspect element.
Mm-hmm.
You will get a pop-up inspector here on the screen. Okay, see here. A blue color line is getting highlighted, right? Input ID is equal to email, class, few information is passing out here. This is an HTML language, right? So just have a look on this.
Okay.
The tag starts with this less than symbol here, what you can see it. And the very first word, input, what you are seeing here. This is generally known as tag name. What is a tag name? TAG, tag name.
Mm-hmm.
This tag name differs depending on the element. Means this is an edit box, so that's the reason the tag name is input. If it is a link,
Mm-hmm.
the tag name will be A, anchor text, A. If it is a drop down, the tag name is select. Just see, this is a link actually. Like, can you see tag name is A here? Here, right?
Yes.
So this is a drop down here. 15 May drop down, right? Tag name is select. Means depending on the element, the tag name changes. Clear? Next.
Okay.
All edit boxes have same tag name. All drop downs have same tag name. All radio buttons have same tag name almost. So here we have input is a tag name, the very first one. Next, ID. Can you see that ID is a attribute? If I say attribute, if I say property, as if now it refers to only one. Okay, both are same technically. So attribute is ID. Email is a value of that attribute. Now I can say to the tool, go and identify a element which has a ID called email. Then it will search the whole page. It will go and get that ID which has email and will try to perform the activity. Clear?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Next. You got the point, right?
Yes.
The very, very important things this should be discussed. Next. Next. Okay, now same class here is a id, sorry, class is a attribute, value is input, text name is a attribute, email is a value.
Input.
Yes, email is a value, text
Mhm.
index is a attribute and value is 1, something like this. So type is a attribute and value is email. So we'll be having values and attributes. Using the values and attributes we can identify. According to 8 types of identifiers what we have, I can use id to identify this element. As it says, id has a value called email. So let's go ahead and let's write a script such that it identifies using a attribute called id. Let's see.
Mhm.
This is the first example we are doing on Selenium to interact with the application. So let me create a new class here. Example 1, or let me call it as a locators or selectors. Select example 1. Public static void main and just click on finish.
Mhm.
So this is a common script. I'm just copying it. So rather than writing it once again,
Mhm.
system.set properties, web driver is equal to new Firefox driver. These are the common script. You know what the script is meant. We have done it in the previous class itself. So just I am pasting it from there to save the time. So this will open web driver is equal to new Firefox driver will invoke a plain instance of Firefox. After opening the Firefox, I need to use open facebook.com. So driver.get, or you can use it. You can use driver.navigate too, right? Driver.get. What is it? Facebook.com, right?
Mhm.
So this will launch facebook.com. After launching facebook.com, I need to identify this element using an attribute called id. Okay, I'm writing in this comment, identify using id selector. Next, driver dot, just here what is the best option to find that element. Just here what is the best suitable method for us to go and get that element.
Find element.
Correct, driver dot find element. We have a class called
Mhm.
by. Driver dot find element. How we are going to identify it? By dot id. So what does it mean? I am going to identify that element using id. Driver dot find element. By is a method. By dot id. What is that id? Email is a
Yes.
value of that id. Okay, so
Yes.
better we need to copy it here. Say email to avoid the case sensitive issues. Just it's good if you try to copy it and paste it here rather than writing that, right?
Okay.
So driver
Mhm.
dot find element by id. So this will go and find the element. After finding that element, what you need to do? What is your task?
After find element.
You need to enter some email id, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Finding is one step. Go and get this element. After getting this element, you need to enter some value in it, right? So the
Mhm.
method what we have is driver dot, sorry, dot, just check it. What exactly suits us to enter some data into it?
Get class. No. No. Enter.
Send keys. Okay. Driver dot find element. After finding that element, so and so element, send the keys. Right? What are those keys? That you can write it in the quotes. In the double quotes, write them as some email ID. Kiran.
Right. Okay.
Oh, let me give my email ID. Testing tools 10 at gmail.com. Right? So once I run the test,
Okay.
what should happen? First, a Firefox browser should come out of the picture. After coming out of the Firefox browser, in that it should write facebook.com, and next it should send the keys called testing tools at gmail.com. Clear? Yep.
Yeah.
I'm running it. I'm running the test.
Mm-hmm.
It has opened facebook.com. Sorry, not it has just launched Firefox. Now it will try to launch facebook.com. It's loading. It's a bit slow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Just see, it has identified the element and it has written testing tools 10 at gmail.com into that email ID, right? Yes, this is how we interact with the element. Now what we do is we'll go ahead and we'll try to talk about the next identifiers. We have done with ID, right? We have identified an element using ID. Now we'll use name attribute and we'll try to identify one more element here. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So I'll comment this line. Now the next line we are going to use name.
Name.
So just see, just let me know what element we use. Okay. Mm, Let us identify the surname. Yes.
Okay. Um,
Okay.
yes.
So first we need to know what is the name attribute of it. What we need to do for that?
Mm-hmm.
Right click on that and you need to click on
Okay.
inspect element. Once you click on inspect element, that element's complete information will be provided here.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. It has a input ID and what we want, guys, we want name. Name is an attribute and what is the value of it? Last name.
Mm-hmm.
Just we need to copy that last name and let's write the script. Okay, you just give me the script. I need to start with driver next. Driver dot.
Get.
No, I have already get is there. I'm not commented it. It's already there.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Driver dot
Uh, Name.
find element
Find element first. Yes.
by dot name.
By name. Yes.
What is that name? Last name, right?
Name.
Last name. After finding that element, go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and send some keys and let me give my last name.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once I run the test, it will go and identify that element using a name attribute and it will enter this data into it. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
I'm just click on run. I'm just clicking on run.
Mm-hmm.
Firefox on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You can do same all these activities using Chrome or Internet Explorer also. Same activities.
Yeah.
Okay, just I am showing you in the Firefox. It doesn't mean that you can't do it in the other browsers. We can do the same activities in other browsers too.
Okay.
Just see, it has successfully identified that element and it has written Kiran over there.
Okay.
Okay, yep. One point to be noted: if these two elements, assume that this element also has a name property, and
Okay.
the name of this is last name, assume that, and this
Mm-hmm.
also last name, means
Okay.
the values has been duplicated. Assume that there are some cases it happens developer may give duplicate names for some elements, right?
Okay.
In that case
Mm-hmm.
you need to identify this element, right? Okay,
Okay.
this element has a last name as a one of the name attribute, and even this also has same last name
Mm-hmm.
as the attribute. So you have spied it, we have identified it, and we have written the script. Some cases what happens is because it both has the same properties, or both has the same value for one property, it will may go and write here rather than writing here. The reason is both has same value for name attribute, means if multiple elements has a same name attributes value, in that case it's going to work on the first occurrence. Okay, the first occurrence element in the search, wherever it gets the first element, on that it's going to perform the activity. Clear?
Okay.
Yep. So
But
very few cases. Okay, lot of cases it will be unique. If it is duplicate, then it may work on the first occurrence.
mm-hmm.
Clear?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Next. Next. Okay, next. So we have discussed about ID and name.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we are going to discuss about link text. Link text, as it's a name test says, it's going to identify the links using the text, right? Link text.
Okay.
But what is a link? How to identify that whether it's a link or not? It's simple logic. See here, forget an account, it looks like a link, right? Here, this is a link, this is a link,
Okay.
this terms is a link, data policy is a link, cookies policy is a link,
Mm-hmm.
all these other links, create a page is a link. But how do I know that it's a link? Simple. Once you try to identify any element, go to inspect element, and if I'm trying to identify element or get the properties of element, just here, pick an element from the page, just click on this, move your mouse onto the element what you want to know about. I want to know details of this forgotten account. Just click there. Just here, if a tag name comes as A, then that is nothing but a link. You just remember it. If an element has a tag name called A, that element can be considered as a link without any doubt. Just here
Okay.
I'm clicking on create a page. It also has A as a
Like,
tag name. So it's a link. If an element having A as a tag name, that element is technically considered as a link. Clear?
yes.
So all these elements can be identified using a text. Yes, using a text called link text. Now what I do is I'm going to identify this forget an account using a text called forget an account. This is the link text, right? This is the text of that element. Forget an account and question mark. So using that, I need to identify that element and go and click that. If I click on it, what happens if I click on this forget an account? It will take you to the next page where you can recover our password, correct?
Correct.
We have done with ID, name. Now let's do that with a link text. Let me comment out this too. I'm just highlighting it so that while practicing it, you'll be knowing for what we have written the script for, right? That is name and this is a link text. Okay. So I need to identify that element using the text. Driver dot.
Driver find element.
Perfect. Driver dot find element by
Link text.
link text. Correct. What is that link text? Forget an account. After finding that element, what I need to do? I need to click on that element. Click. Just select click as a method. So this will go and identify a element which has a forget an account as a link text. So this element have it. It will go and click on that forget an account. Simple.
Okay.
Then what happens? It will take you to a page where you can find your account details. Find your account. If it is taking to this page, in the sense it's working perfectly. I'm running the test. Have a look on this. Firefox on the screen. Just here, it has clicked on that element successfully, and we are into the page where we can recover our password. Means it has successfully clicked on that forget an account link. Clear?
I think we can add something else here. We can add send key and enter the email too, right?
We can. So here, if here you want to enter the send keys, some email address you want to enter here.
Yeah, we can do after click send key and enter the email. So we can go directly to the next page, right? Or we can have the email directly here.
What do you want? After clicking on forget an account, it has taken to this page. So you want to write some email address here, and you want to click on search. That is what you have asked, right? Yes, we can do it. We can do it. So how we are going to the same line. In the same line in the sense the next line. Next line, not in the same line. Like if you want to enter some email ID here, assume that. So right click on it, go to inspect element and first read it. What are the properties best suitable to identify that element? So you know how to use ID name, right? So using that we can. It's not a link.
Mm-hmm.
It has a ID. Using
Yes.
ID we can identify that element. So let me
Okay.
identify that element. Okay. Now after clicking on that, so by this it will go and it will click on that, right? According to the script. Next. Driver dot find element
Element
by dot
by
ID,
ID.
and this is the ID of that element. Identify email, and then send keys. Whatever the keys you want, you can just send it.
Mm-hmm.
Just randomly I'm writing some email address, kiran@gmail.com. This is not a valid one. Just I'm writing randomly on that.
Okay.
Just save the test and run it. Okay, so it will go to the forget an account and just it will click on that. In the next line, it will try to enter the details.
But we can't have it in the same line.
In this,
It
no,
should
no,
be
no.
two.
Yes.
Okay.
Each user operation will have a separate line.
Okay.
Okay. Just remember that every time each user operation will have a separate line.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Perfect.
it's perfectly right.
Yes.
Next, clear?
Yes.
Next. We have done with the link text. Now we'll use something called partial link text. Partial link text. As its a name states, partial link text. Rather than using a huge link, like some cases you will be having a lengthy link, right?
Mm-hmm.
So remembering that or using that may be a difficulty. In that cases, rather than using a huge length string of link, we can use a part of it, partial, as its name says. Using the partial link also, we can identify the element. Let's see that how we can do it. Partial link text. Partial is part of a link, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here we have something called create a page, right? This is a link. Let's go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and identify that. It's a link. It has a as a link text, so obviously it's link. So rather than completely identifying that element using a whole link, I'm going to give a partial link. Just create a. I'm not going to give that page. Just I will write create a and I will try to identify that element. Partial link text. Giving a partial text information to identify that element. Driver dot find element by dot partial link text. Give the partial link create a dot click. It will go and click on that element, and once you click on that element, it should take you to the page where we can create a Facebook pages. This page, create a page. It should take you to this page. Correct?
Okay.
Means I can identify element using a partial link of it.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect, right?
Yes.
Yep. So that is how it works. Next. So we have tag name, class name, and CSS and Xpath. So let's talk about this Xpath. Xpath locates an element using its Xpath expression. Xpath is nothing but the code-wise address of that element, where that address is located according to the code-wise. So that's what the Xpath is. In the coming sessions, we are going to talk a lot of things on Xpath. Yes, a lot of things, right? In the coming classes, even we are going to write our own XPath too, building our own XPath also. Okay, building our own XPath too.
Okay.
But as if now, just think that XPath is also one of the identifier like other. Just it's a simple identifier, as we have went through the rest of the identifiers, right? Just you can think that it's a simple identifier to identify the element. But there are a lot of things to discuss on that. We'll be discussing widely about that. We'll go too much details onto it and we'll talk about that. Okay, that's in the coming sessions.
Okay.
So but now we are going to just focus on just simple XPath. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to get that XPath. It's very easy. Now in this page, I want to identify one element using a XPath. What element will identify using a XPath? Let us identify this mobile number or email box using a XPath. Let's do that. Just go and select that element. What element you want to identify using XPath? You can't find any XPath in this highlighted area. So what we need to do is right click, copy, and XPath. So copy the XPath. Now I want to identify that element using a XPath. Let's see how we can do it now. Driver dot find element by dot XPath. Give the path expression. A simple change you need to make it here. Can you see this here? We have a equals to symbol, equals to id, equals to some,
Okay.
equals to. Once after having a equals to, we have a double quotes, right? Change that
Mm-hmm.
into a single quote. And here before to this brace, we have a double quote and change this to a single quote. That's it. This change you need to do it actually. That format should be in a single quotes, but it is once we copy it, it is taking in a double quotes and the syntax is not allowing us. Okay, you need to change
Okay.
this into a single quote. Only simple change. So now I want to identify that using Xpath, and I want to send some information into it. Send my mobile number into it.
Mm-hmm.
Got the point?
Yes.
Save it and run that. Looks here. It has successfully given mobile number into it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is how it works.
Okay.
Clear?
Clear? Yes.
Yes. Okay. So rest of the identifiers we'll be talking about that in the next session. Okay?
Okay.
Yep. Any doubts?